Hey there, class. It's Phil McDowell, a mortgage professor, coming to you again. Today's subject, we're going to be talking about a lot of you are dealing with realtors who are very, very savvy, and what they've told you is go out, get yourself pre-qualified, find out how much you can borrow before you start looking at a house. I don't want you disappointed. And that's very, very good. But the other thing to take a look at is not only to get pre-qualified, but let's get preconditioned on the kind of homes that you may be looking at. Now let's take, for example, that you've decided that you don't want to be in a brand new home out in the far reaches of the suburbs. You actually want to be closer into the inner core. That typically means that you're going to buy an existing home that's a little bit dated. Now, that's not bad, but be aware that one of the premises that you should be following is getting a home inspection. Now, of course, a home inspector, when they see an older home, they're going to be looking at the roof, they're going to be looking at the furnace, they're going to be looking at the hot water tank, they're looking at foundation, structural integrity, the whole bit, including electrical, plumbing. So don't be fearful when the home inspector comes up and says, hey, I've identified an issue. Let's use as an example. Let's say that you've been pre-qualified for a home, $400,000. You've got 5% down, which is $20,000 down. You've got some cash for closing, but you don't have a whole bunch extra. So here you go through, you find a beautiful home, great neighborhood, location, the structure, the layout of the home. They've even done some upgrading, so it looks really good. However, in their listing, they've indicated that any home inspections has to exclude as far as any percentage of the home needing repairs as a condition for sale. The furnace is excluded. Well, of course, that's the red flag that says there's something wrong with the furnace, and of course the home inspector, doing his due diligence, will find, oh yes, this furnace is like 23 years old, hasn't been replaced. Guess what? You may be replacing it shortly. So you do your negotiations. Now the price is at $400,000. Now what a lot of realtors are going to say is, listen, we've got a quote here for a furnace, $7,500 to install it. So what we'll do is $400 is the offer. There's going to be a $7,500 buyer's credit. Well, what's a buyer's credit? Well, what that means is when you take possession of your property, you're going to be paying $392,500 for your home. Now, as far as the vendor is concerned, the seller of the home, they don't care. They're getting the approximate amount of money that they were hoping to get anyway. However, here's what the issue is. When you're doing 5% down, if you get a vendor credit and the day of possession, you are paying $392,500 and that furnace has not been replaced, that means that there's actually a price reduction and your financing, 95% financing, is based on the lower amount. So now, if you have issues of getting an approval, that might be the reason why. Is you're not paying $400 for the house, you're paying $392,500. It's expected that that $7,500 is going to be used for the furnace, but after you move in, and because it hasn't been done at the time you move in, your mortgage is short as far as an approval goes. The correct way is to step back and say, we're making an offer of $392,500. You ask for financing for $7,500 towards the furnace. You have a $400,000 purchase and improvement style mortgage. And that's where your $20,000 down payment comes in, instead of having almost $20,000 for your down payment and having to come up with $7,500 because your financing wasn't done right the first way. So the moral of the story is, whenever you're taking a look at getting a pre-approval, also get preconditioned for the home that you're going to buy. I used as an example where you may be looking in an older neighborhood, older home, but there are other kinds of property that you may be precondition for also. But those are different topics. For now, take a look at this and do it the right way.